सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदिभ्या निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावली लोभनीयं पीयूषाप्लावितोऽहं तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशं तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुखरसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत् सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च
Gurupavanapure Hantabhagyam Jananam. Namaskaram to all the Astikas. In Srimad Narayaneeyam, we are now going to discuss the 15th Dashakam, which is a very beautiful Dashakam. I have to make a special mention of a great Acharya Varya who was a Yajva and a Pravachanakarta. For his unparalleled eloquence and mastery over delivery of our Hindu scriptures, he was called the Upanyasa Chakravarti, Pravachana Chakravarti. His name was Anantarama Dikshita and he hailed from a small village called Sengalipuram in the state of Tamil Nadu. He was extremely attached to the greatness of Sri Krishna in Guruvayur, called Guruvayurappan, and was one of the prime motivators for bhaktas to learn Srimad Narayaneeyam. People who have heard him would always say that his delivery of this 15th Dashakam is unparalleled. At the outset, I would like to make it very clear that I am nowhere in front of that great Mahan. I will present whatever little I know and I can understand. Matiriha gunasakta bandhakritreshvasakta tvamamritakrit uparundhe bhakti yogastu shaktim mahadagunamalabhya bhakti revatra sadhya kapilatanuriti tvam devahutyai nyagadihi iha matihi gunasakta. In this very universe, world that we live in, matihi gunasakta, the mind gets attached to a lot of senses and pleasures. Bandhakrit, and thereby there is a creator of that bondage. Asakta tu teshu, but if detached from the sense objects, if it gets detached from those sense objects, amritakrit, then there is a chance where immortality is blessed. So, whatever we know of as immortality, where the Jivatma reaches a state where it will not enter the body, then it has to detach itself from the senses, is the point that we learn here. Bhakti yogaha tu uparundhe saktim. So what is that which helps? So the one that helps in the attachment. See, because of the attachment of the mind to the senses, there is presence in this world. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. So the method as given by our Shastras is detach yourself from all these senses and all these objects that give you pleasure. What is the way? We are saying this is, you have to detach yourself. But what is the way? That is where Kapila says, Bhakti yogaha tu uparundhe saktim. the path of devotion, the bhakti yoga, the sadhana or upasana that you're going to take, uparundhe saktim, will give you that state where there is detachment. Then, ataha, atra bhaktihi, therefore, in this particular world, this bhakti, mahat anugama labhya eva sadhya. How do we get that bhakti? See, for step by step, Kapila Vasudeva takes his mother through this journey. He says, mind when it gets attached to the senses, there is attachment. When there is no such attachment of the mind to the senses, when there is detachment, there is no problem. What gives us detachment? Following Bhakti Yoga. How do I get that Bhakti Yoga? He says, Mahat Anugama Labhya Eva Sadhya. It will be possible only when you follow the path taken by great acharyas. Mahajano yenagatisya panthaha. Iti tvam kapila tanuhu. This is the advice. First step of the advice that Kapila, tvam kapila tanuhu, nyagadihi devahutyai. You advised your mother Devahuti this way, says Bhattatri in the first shloka. Next he takes us through the second shloka. Prakriti mahadahankarascha matrascha bhutan yapi hridayapi dashakshi purushaha panchavimshaha iti vidita vibhago muchyate sau prakritya kapilatanuriti tvam devahutyai nyagadihi. Asau muchyate prakritya. That one is freed from that delusion. Vidita vibhagaha iti. Who has known the differentiation. See, the person who knows the differentiation, okay, this is that. That knowledge comes, that clarity comes. He is freed from the delusion when of this differentiation. Then, what is the differentiation? See, we have to say, if I say I differentiate this person from the other, there are two objects. I differentiate him from the rest. So again, there is a group. What does Kapila mean by differentiation? He says, Prakriti mahat ahankaraha cha. So, we have discussed this in the first few dashakams itself, but I'm sure I'm going to remind you all of this. Prakriti mahat ahankaram. These are the three steps with which we deal. Prakriti, mahat, ahankaram. That is when we said there is prakriti, which can only give rise. Then comes prakriti vikriti, which is also a product and also gives rise. Next comes Vikriti, which can only be produced but doesn't give rise any further. So this Prakriti, Vikriti, Vikriti. This is what that gives rise to Mahat. So we have got Prakriti, Mula Prakriti, which is Mula Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram. What does this Ahankaram lead further to? So there is an equilibrium maintained between Sattva, Rajo and Tamo Gunas. So with this, when there is a disturbance, then you have got Sattvika Ahankara, Rajasa Ahankara, Tamasa Ahankara. These are the Ahankaras that come. So he says, Prakriti Mahat Ahankara Hacha Api. Then what happens from the three Ahankara types that we have got? We've got Pancha Bhutas, Akashad Vayuhu, Vayor Agnihi, Agner Apaha, Adbhyav Prithvi. You've got space, ether, space, Vayu, air, Vayor Agnihi, fire, then comes water, finally comes air. These are the Pancha Bhutas. So he says, Api Matraha Cha Bhutani. Then you have got the Tanmatram which is associated with it. So the Tanmatras, Api Matraha Cha Bhutani, the 5 matras that are associated, Hrit Api Dashakshi. So there is this mind, and along with that there are the 10 Indriyas, Dashakshi. So you've got the eyes, you've got the nose, you've got the tongue, you've got the ears, you've got the skin, you've got the hands, you've got the limbs, you've got the face, you've got the excretory and the reproductive organs. Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya. So he says, Hrit Api Dashakshi. There are these 10 Dashakshis, Dashendriyas. Evam Chatur Vimshati Tattvani. Then he counts them all together. How does he get the count? Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram, Manas. You've got Manas, mind. Then you've got Pancha Bhutas, Pancha Tanmatras, Pancha Jnanendriyas, Pancha Karmendriyas. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, 20. Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankaram, Manas, 4. So 20 plus 4, 24. That is why he says, Evam, thus, Chatur Vimshati Tattvani. You've got these 24 tattvas which come under a larger category called Achetana. Then Purushaha Panchavimshaha, the Purusha. There we talk about the Jivatma with Antaratma, Paramatma is the Antaratman. That Purushaha, Panchavimshaha is the 25th one. Iti Tvam Kapila Tanuhu. Who gave all this advice? All this prakriya was explained by whom? Sakshat Kapila Vasudeva to his mother. Kapila Tanuhu Nyagadihi Devahutyai. He explained to his very mother Devahuti. This says Bhatta 3 in this shloka. Next he takes us through the third shloka. Prakriti Gata Gunau Ghair Najyate Purushoyam Yadi tu Sajati Tasyam Tad Gunastam Bhajeran Madanu Tattva Lochanai Sapyapeyat Kapila Tanuriti Tvam Devahutyai Nyagadihi Ayam Purushaha Na Ajyate. This Purusha, this Jivatma does not bind himself to what? You have to say he does not bind himself to what? Prakriti Gata Gunaugaihi, with a host of attributes. We see Gunaugaihi, there are various gunas associated with Prakriti Gata Gunaugaihi, with Prakriti. So there is Purusha, there is Prakriti. This Purusha does not bind himself with the Prakriti. Tu Yadi Sajati Tasyam. But what Vidhi will have its own way, right? So he says, in case Tu Yadi Sajati Tasyam. In case the Purusha gets bound with these characteristics, attributes of the 24 principles that come under the Achetana, Chaturvimshati Tattva, then what will happen with that Prakriti? Tad Gunaha Bhajeran Tam. Then there will be an imbibing of those attributes. We say Samsargaja Dosha Gunaha Bhavanti. With only your brought up and your practice, you will start acquiring the habits of whomever you are. Suppose I end up growing in a house where they keep using kill, bite, hit, kill. Then I will also start getting those gunas. So he says, Tadgunaha bhajeran tvam tam. So then what will happen? This Purusha will start imbibing the attributes of that particular Prakriti. Then Sa api apeyat. In case after some considerable point of time, this Prakriti, because Prakriti is Trilingam, this Prakriti, if she releases him from her hold, at one point in time Prakriti feels, I take mercy on this Purusha, for a very long time I have kept him in hold, then I release him, then Madanu Bhajana Tattvalochanaihi, through the worship, then what will happen? The Purusha has to excuse himself. How? Through the worship of Narayana, Madanu Bhajana Tattvalochanaihi. Remember, Kapila is telling this to his mother Devahuti. That time also he will address it stating that you have to do worship to me. If you assume that Guruvayurappan Krishna is Kapila and he is giving Upadesham, he too says propitiate me. Either to Devahuti who has to propitiate Kapila or to us who have to propitiate Guruvayurappa, this line is applicable. Madanu Bhajana Tattvalochanaihi. There is always this worship and contemplation on the true nature of Bhagavan. Iti Tvam. This, who said this? Kapila Tanuhu. Kapila Vasudeva told this. To whom? Nyagadihi Devahutyai. To his very mother Devahuti, he gave this Upadesham. So this Upadesham of Kapila Vasudeva to his mother is extremely important because on one side we understand the points given by Bhagavan through his Saveshyavataram called Kapila Vasudeva. If you are a student of philosophy, you will also understand the principles that were found at the advent of the philosophy, not during its middle stages. But at the advent of this philosophy, this is how Sankhya Matam featured, is what we understand from the first 3 shlokas of this beautiful Kapilopadesham Dashakam.
कल्याणरूपाय कलौ जनानां कल्याणदात्रे करुणासुधाब्दे कंवादिदिव्यायुधसत्कराय वातालयाधीश नमो नमस्ते। नारायण 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 நாராயண நாராயண